Good evening. Welcome to the latest special from Last Bell Boxing, joined by Midlands boxing sensation Sean Bruce. Sean is currently sat at 4-0, and this weekend steps in the ring with Fraser Morgan for the vacant Midland area super flyweight title. Sean, how are you, pal?
Wow, what an entrance.
I try, mate. I try.
Cheers. Yeah, mate, I'm bang on. Yeah. I think we're 4 days away now. So all the hard work's done. It's just a case of switching on now mentally and getting the job done. So
We'll talk about the fight in detail in a minute. I want to go take you right back though, mate. We might have spoken about this before when we've done interviews, but now we've got this big fight. There'll be a lot more eyes on it, and I want people that maybe haven't seen you before to hear your background and how you got into boxing. So first and foremost, what's your first ever memory of boxing? Was it as a kid watching it, or?
So do you know what? When I was a kid, I was really into wrestling, and I was looking for a wrestling gym. There weren't anything about. And then I remember one day I watched the first Rocky around my cousin's house, and then I was like, "Oh, I'll give that a go." And then I went down to a gym in Wigston, and this gym was like proper old school spitting sawdust, like trees coming through the roof. They had like a boxing ring next to the brick wall, so if you got clattered, you're
No way.
Yeah, it's brutal. And I remember putting on these old. This stunk as well. Those old gloves, and then just whacking away at this bag. And I ended up going there for a few weeks, and they put me in with a couple of lads that were a lot older. I think I was only about 10, must have been 10 at the time. Put me in a few like 16, 17-year-olds, and I bashed them up. And you were like,
right.
You got a bit of something, you know? Like, yeah, do you think? And I was always into my fitness, even from a young age, 10, 11, always running and doing all sorts. Just loved it straight away, to be honest. Had a few, I think when I was about 10, 11, I had a couple of unlicensed fights, I suppose, in nightclubs, which is a bit mad looking back considering my age. And then I think I was about 11, I went over to Earl Shilton Amateur Boxing Club.
Right, okay.
So that's where I had my whole amateur career. So I grew up training with the likes of Sam Bowen, Callum Blockley, Tyler Rivers, Ryan Wheeler, Jordan Tibbles, Kyle Haywood. The list goes on. So many national champions and lads that did really, really well. There was a bit of almost like they always call it like the golden era at Earl Shilton, where there was just like a group of us for about 5 years we were just fighting all the time, sparring each other and just doing really well. Great memories at that club. Craig Perkins and Steve Bowen, Sam's daddy, he taught me a lot when I was young and in the championships and stuff. And yeah, it was a great time looking back, to be honest, in the amateurs.
So how did the link up with Rendell Munro come about?
So with Rendell, I mean, I stepped away from boxing for a few years, and then I went over to Australia for a little bit just to live over there and work, and I started sparring again, and I was sparring like decent lads, and I wasn't really training. I was holding my own against them. I thought, you know what, I missed this. I proper missed this. I was getting trained back with black eyes and frozen peas on my head and stuff, but I was thinking, you know what, I don't know why I've sort of stopped boxing. And then come back into England, and then I had a few fights on the unlicensed scene just to get back into it, really, but have a bit of a play about. And then one of my mates, Brady, he said, "Oh, why don't you come down the gym and do some with Rendell Munro?" I thought, yeah, I'd love that. Because I remember, I would never forget this. When I had one of them first unlicensed fights, I got out of the ring. I must have been 10. And Rendell was sat ringside, and my dad went to me, he went, "Rendell Munro's sat over there, get him to sign something for you." So I've took my glove off, this little red Everlast glove, and I walked over to him dead nervous. I was like, right, Randall, can you sign a glove for me? He's like, yeah, yeah. And he signed it and he put to Sean, all the best, sky's the limit.
Wow.
And then fast forward 15 years, I'm going into his gym, meeting him again. And then our first session, we actually sparred. And we finished the spar. And Randall put his arms on the ropes. He turned around to me and went, Sean. I went, yeah. He went, you're good, you know. I went, do you think? He went, honestly, he was like, keep coming. So, yeah, we just it all sort of started from there. I just kept turning up, and I was just enjoying it, to be honest. Just loving learning from him. Obviously, he's been there and done it. I remember all his old fights, and he was a massive inspiration to me at that stage of my life as well. Getting back into boxing. And I think I always struggled like believing in myself, and he really brought that out of me. And then one thing led to another. Ended up having a conversation with Carl, and then I showed Carl my amateur record book, and he was looking through the names, and he couldn't believe some of the names on there. And he was like, "Fucking hell, I've got a superstar here." And then it was similar with the board, to be fair. When I went for my board meeting for my license, they were sort of looking through the names in my amateur book, in the likes of like Kieran Conway, Liam Davis, Brad Dawes, Andrew Kane. It was never ending really. But Simon Cole, I think September 21 or 22 was it? I think we've been pro about a year and a half now. It's been whirlwind. And then obviously debut December, not last year, year before. So it's mad that we're here now.
Currently sat at 4-0. And you've moved up and down the weights a little bit in those first 4 pro fights.
Yeah.
I think am I right in thinking you've had 2 at bantam and 2 at super bantam?
So my first few, I think I was like just under super bantam. So a lot of it was trial and error, to be honest. Because Before I turned pro, I mean, I was walking around at like 63 kilo, which is, I don't know, welterweight, is it?
Right. Wow.
I don't know, like super lightweight or welterweight or something. So, and obviously going on the Randall Munroe diet, that sweet potato and chicken, that did me a few favors. So the weight seemed to fly off. And come back down, because in the amateurs I was always fighting around 52, 54 kilos. First few were about super bantam, and then naturally the weight just started to come down. And now, obviously, fighting at super flyweight, I almost feel like this weight's been made for me. I feel amazing at it. So, because I've been doing 8 stone 5 on the day, so 8 stone 3 day before was. Do you know what I mean? It's pretty much identical.
So what do you normally walk around at? How much do you when you get, say, I don't know, an 8-week camp or a 10-week camp? How much do you generally have to shift before a fight?
Do you know what, Andy? Not a lot at all, to be honest. I've never really go like £5 above my fight weight, just because I'm always training.
That's good, mate.
I'm always training. I never really, take the foot off the gas, but I never stop completely. I feel like I can't. If I was to stop training altogether, I don't know. My missus would kick me out probably. I don't know what I'd do. So just always stay around the weight, always stay fit. I love it though. I love it, even if it wasn't boxing, I'd still be in good nick. I'd like to think anyway.
Just going back to the inspiration that Rendell's been to you since you've had him as your trainer. I think the last time we did an interview face to face was actually down at Shinfields. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah, on the Sunday.
Yeah, that Sunday morning, I think you come down. You brought your missus with you, and you can't help but get inspiration when you walk into the gym and you got Rendell's fight dates plastered all over the walls. I mean, surely that's got to give you a massive lift, because he's a superstar down there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, it's mad. Like going into that gym and seeing all of his old articles and everything. Obviously, he's got some in the gym in Leicester, but that was like everything from the start, sort of thing. So, yeah, he's like I say, he's been there and done it, and I think because of that, when he was telling me how good he thought I was, and hearing it from someone like that, it can only push you on. But I wouldn't say, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's took me a while to fully believe it myself. First fight, like my debut fight, I just sort of had that like feeling like, oh, should I be here? Do you know what I mean? Am I good enough? And then obviously won that with flying colours, and then just kept pushing on really. So it's been a gradual progression, but I feel like I'm right where I need to be. I couldn't feel more ready for this opportunity.
It says a lot for both you and Fraser. The fact that you're 4-0, he's 5-0, and you're already fighting for the Midland area title. It says a lot about your talent, both of you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, when I went to the Midlands Awards last weekend, weekend before, and they ran out my nomination, and they said like, Sean Bruce is great to watch for boxing purists. His accuracy is, I can't remember the exact words. I wish I'd filmed it, to be honest. But I sort of sat there and I was like, that's all right, isn't it? Hearing that from like the board and stuff. So they obviously like what they see. But what's exciting for me is I genuinely, don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed my first 4 fights and been a lot of learning there, but I genuinely don't think I've showed 20% of what I can really do. So this fight for me is a great opportunity to showcase that. Over 10 rounds, long distance, it's plenty of time for me to put all the hard work we've done over the last 2 years together on the night. I'm buzzing, mate. I really am.
It's me. I can't wait for it. As soon as it was announced, I thought, oh, that's a magic fight.
Yeah.
I'm not, what happens in sparring happens in camp stays in camp. But I witnessed a little sparring session between you two on that day that you was down at the gym, and if that's anything to go by, we're in for a real treat, boxing fans. Everyone that are going down to this fight, they're in for an absolute fantastic fight. I can't wait. So that being said, on to fight night. Before we talk about fight night, though, on last Saturday, you were doing a bit of co-coms at the the last Carl Greaves show in Leicester, and you and Fraser faced off in the ring. What was that like to do?
Yeah, it was good, So we got in there, and then I didn't really know how it was going to go about, because they obviously just come over. Fair play to them for bringing him over. I didn't think they would, to be honest, but yeah. And then the announcer was like, witness the face off, and we were sort of stood like next to each other, and I just thought, oh fuck it, and then just went to center the ring, just went, come on then, and then obviously had a little face off, had a few words, wished him all the best, tapped him on the back, and then job done.
Do you want to divulge what them words were? Because I saw you was having a little bit of a conversation between each other.
I just said, look, I hope you make it home safe. I think I said to, because obviously they had the belt there as well, and I said, look, that's coming home with me. And he was like, yeah, we'll see.
Right.
I was like, we will. And then I can't remember really. Just said, surprised you came over here, to be honest. He was like, yeah. And then like I say, I just wished him all the best.
So moving on to fight night, mate. This is at Arleston Hall in Derbyshire. So, what do you expect from Fraser? What do you expect him to bring to the table on fight night, or do you not even worry about that? Do you just focus on you?
There's definitely nothing I'm worried about. What he'll bring to the table, I mean, he's a good boxer. He's 5-0. You don't become 5-0 as a professional if you're not any good. So I know I'm in for a tough night's work. He's a good kid. I think he's a good amateur. but exactly what you just said there. You know, he'll come in there, he'll get in the ring and he'll do what he needs to do, and I'll come in there and I've got my game plan. I know what I need to do. So I'm just fully focused on me. At the end of the day, he's just the person that's in front of me. He's the person that I'm gonna beat to win the Midlands title, and that's as clear cut as it gets. You know, I don't need to overcomplicate it. He's in the way of something that I want, and there's just no way that he's gonna stop me from getting it. There's no way. So all the best to him.
Well, I think that's a perfect way to bring the interview to an end, mate. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Myself and Carl for Last Bar Boxing will be down at the show on Saturday night. Neither of us can wait for it, mate.
Yeah.
So good luck. I'll see you at the weekend, mate. It's going to be a truly fantastic fight. Have you just before I do go? I mean, I'm guessing you've sold tickets for this fight.
Yeah. So
have you got any? Have you got any left? If you have, where do people get them from?
I don't think I have, to be honest. I might need to get a few more though. So I think the venue only holds, I think, about 400 people, and I've sold nearly 100. So I'll have good support there on the night. So yeah, I'll see what I can do if anyone wants any last minute tickets. But as it stands, they're all gone at the moment.
Well, brilliant, mate. Thanks for joining us again, like I've just said. And myself and Carl will see you on Saturday night, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks for the interview. Appreciate it.
Nice one. Catch up with you then.
Cheers, mate.